In this video, we'll be going through the different ways you can solve a quadratic equation. But first, let's see what we're given in the formula booklet. Under section 2.7, we are given the quadratic formula. So for any quadratic written as ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, we know that x is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. And we know that a cannot equal 0, because if a is 0, we would not have a quadratic. The first method we will use is by factorising. Find the solutions to the following quadratics. A, x squared plus 7x minus 8 equals 0. So we're going to factorise this. So the first thing we need to do is look at our integer value, which is minus 8. So we need to find our factor pairs. So our factor pairs could be minus 1, 8, 8, minus 8, 1, minus 2, 4, 2, minus 4. And we now look at our coefficient of our x, and we want to look at our factor pairs, add them together, and we want the value 7. So minus 1 plus 8 equals 7. So that means that is our factor pairs that we will use. So we can now put into our brackets. So we get x minus 1, x plus 8 is equal to 0. So that means x minus 1 is 0. So x is 1 of our solutions. X plus 8 equals 0. So therefore x equals minus 8 is our second solution. B, x squared equals 5x plus 6. First thing we've got to do is rearrange it. So we get x squared minus 5x minus 6 is equal to 0. Now we want our factor pairs for 6. So we could have minus 1, 6. We could have 1 minus 6. We could have 2 minus 3. Or we could have minus 2, 3. Now look at our coefficient for x, and we want them to add up to make minus 5. So looking at our factor pairs, minus 1 plus 6 is 5. 1 minus 6 is minus 5. So those are our factor pairs that we will use. Now put them into our brackets. So we get x plus 1. X minus 6 equals 0. So that means x plus 1 equals 0. So x equals minus 1 is one of our solutions. And x minus 6 is equal to 0. So x is equal to 6 is our second solution. Method 2 is to use the vertex form. Find the roots to the following quadratics. A, x minus 6 all squared minus 3 equals 0. So first rearrange it. So we get x minus 6 all squared is equal to 3. Square root both sides. So the x minus 6 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 3. Add 6 to both sides. So we get x is equal to plus or minus the square root of 3 plus 6. So our two solutions are x equals 6 minus the square root of 3, or x equals 6 plus the square root of 3. B, 3 brackets x plus 2 all squared minus 5 equals 0. So first add 5 to both sides. So we get 3 x plus 2 all squared is equal to 5. Divide both sides by 3. So you get x minus 2 squared is equal to 5 over 3. Square root both sides. So you get x minus 2 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 5 over 3. Add 2 to both sides. So you get x equals 2 plus or minus the square root of 5 over 3. So therefore the two solutions are x equals 2 plus the square root of 5 over 3, or x is equal to 2 minus the square root of 5 over 3. The third method we're going to use is the formula. Please note that this method can be used for any quadratic whatsoever, and I suggest in an exam, if you cannot see that it factorizes, you can't write out the vertex form, or it's not given, go straight to the formula to save yourself time. So let's start with the formula. The formula is x is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. First thing, write down what a, b and c are. So a in this case is 2, the coefficient of x squared. B is equal to 3, the coefficient of x, and c is equal to minus 2, the integer term. Now substitute into your formula, so x is equal to minus b is minus 3, plus or minus the square root. Well, b squared is 3 squared minus 4 times 2 times minus 2 all over 2 lots of a, which is 4. So x is equal to minus 3 plus or minus the square root of 9 minus, well, a minus and a minus will make a plus, so 9 plus 4 times 4 is 16 all over 4. So we get x is equal to minus 3 plus or minus the square root of 25, which is 5, all over 4. So x is equal to minus 3 over 4 plus 5 over 4, or x is equal to minus 3 over 4 minus 5 over 4, which is equal to 2 over 4, which is a half, or minus 8 over 4, which is equal to minus 2. Part B, 6x squared minus 17x plus 12. So we know that A is equal to 6, B is equal to minus 17, C is equal to 12. Put it straight into your formula, so you get x is equal to minus b, so that's 17, plus or minus the square root of b squared, so that's minus 17 squared, minus 4 times a, which is 6, times c, which is 12, all over 2a, or 2 times 6 is 12. Therefore, you get x is equal to 17 plus or minus 1 over 12. Therefore, x is equal to 17 plus 1, which is 18 over 12. So x equals 1.5, or x equals 17 minus 1, which is 16 over 12. So x equals 8 over 6, 4 over 3.